When you get into a new game, expansion, or DLC, sometimes all you want to do is play the hell out of it. I don't mean play it for an entire afternoon or even stay up until 4 a.m. I mean straight up no lifing it. For some people, this means a weekend of nothing but eating, sleeping, and gaming. For others, it means an entire month of their lives is about to be deleted. However, sometimes this just isn't possible. Sometimes the developer actively puts limitations on the progress players can make, and the only way to finish the game is literally to just wait. This, boys and girls, is known as time gating. Some games that utilize time gating are World of Warcraft, Path of Exile, Warframe, Final Fantasy XIV, and Monster Hunter World's DLC system. And those are just the games that I've played in this last month. The thing about time gating is that as much as our knee-jerk reaction might be to absolutely hate it, there are actually a multitude of reasons why a game might employ it, and the implementation is often key as to how disruptive it is to the hardcore player's experience. My first point is exactly this. Time gating is an extremely casual-friendly feature. With more and more gamers experiencing the horrors of adulthood by having children or joining the full-time workforce, it's becoming clear that there is a demand for hardcore content to be accessible with only a casual time commitment. The best example of a game that takes this into consideration is modern World of Warcraft. Just about every piece of content that matters is on a weekly lockout. This means that, as long as you can dedicate a few hours to raid, do a Mythic Plus dungeon, and finish up your world quests, you'll be in a good spot to perform on a level not too far off from those who spend 2 if not 3 times as many hours logged in as you. Unfortunately, this leads us to the first big flaw in time gating as well. As much as this kind of lockout system benefits the casual player, it does the exact opposite for someone who wants to devote their life to a game.
WoW nowadays is built all around random rewards and meaningless bullshit. And it's not about earning things anymore.
What if a group of hardcore players want to farm current heroic content, or target specific Azerite pieces from a mythic dungeon of their choice? Or what if you just want to spend the evening efficiently farming AP because you burnt out on difficult content? Well, no dice, amigo. Looks like you're doing transmog runs and PvP until Tuesday morning. My next point about time gating is player retention. This is probably obvious, but player retention is, in my opinion, the most important factor as to why developers implement time gating in the first place. Again, since WoW truly is the king of time gating, this makes complete sense, as their subscription-based payment model makes player retention a key part of their revenue stream. However, not all developers' motivations are so clear-cut. Recently released for PC, Monster Hunter World has some insanely time-gated DLC. Every week, they release a couple of quests, sometimes with completely new monsters to hunt, and the rewards are almost always unique as well. The thing is, because the console versions of the game have already existed for almost a year, there's literally nothing stopping Capcom from just giving us all the DLC up front, except their desire for player retention. Again, this point is a double-edged sword. As important as player retention is for the longevity and health of a game, time-gating content is not the best way to go about it. If players keep logging on simply because they feel they are missing out when they don't, the game will start to feel like a chore. In the case of World of Warcraft, it's clear that Activision Blizzard cares more about consistent profit, but the long-term result of this artificial hype is an overall less fun and less rewarding experience. The last and perhaps most compelling argument in favor of time gating is in games with complex and highly impactful economies. I honestly believe that games like Path of Exile and Warframe don't time gate content because they want to, but because they believe they have to. For example, in Path of Exile, the most common endgame activity is called mapping. Basically, it consists of randomly generating an environment that contains enemies, bosses, and loot. You then proceed to enter one of these maps, clear it out of anything valuable, then rinse and repeat literally thousands of times. One of the best ways to get the most loot out of your maps is to level up a character named Zana, the Master Cartographer. For casual players, this can take a very long time. For serious players, it will take a lot less time, but a sizable chunk of Zana's level is tied to her daily quest, which still puts a soft limit on how fast you can get her to max level. The result of this design decision is that it keeps new league economies from growing too quickly, allowing for common but powerful items to remain profitable for longer. Of course, this never lasts more than a week or two, so low supply and high demand makes all the difference in Path of Exile's economy. Another example is Warframe sorties. Once a day, you can tackle a relatively difficult set of missions that are thematically similar to each other and grant you a random reward from a set pool. However, the interesting bit is that one of these rewards is an exclusive mod that can only be obtained from sorties, a Riven mod. Riven mods are unique in that they impart completely random bonuses for only one specific weapon. Because of this, they can be nearly useless or sold for literally thousands of dollars worth of in-game currency. While this was more true back when Rivens were introduced, the fact that they can only be acquired on a daily lockout is a testament to Digital Extreme's attempt to control the economy. If they were too hard to get, casual or poor players would never be able to afford a decent Riven. However, if they grew on trees, the market would be flooded and they wouldn't be nearly as cool or rare of a commodity. So what have we learned today? Honestly, not that much. Surprisingly enough, it's actually pretty hard to make generalizations about time-gated content. Some developers do it out of pure greed, while others do it out of an honest attempt to make their game more friendly to casuals. For me, there's actually only one good rule of thumb when it comes to dealing with time gating, and it comes from the developer of Final Fantasy XIV, Naoki Yoshida. When confronted by a fan asking for motivation to keep playing his game, Yoshida said the following: "It's alright not to play it every day. Since it's just a game, you can stop forcing yourself if it's hard on you to keep that up. Rather, it'll just pile up unnecessary stress if you limit yourself into playing just one game, since there are so many other games out there. So, do come back and play it to your heart's content when the major patch kicks in, then stop it to play other games before you get burnt out, and come back for another major patch. This will actually make me happier, and in the end, I think this is the best solution I can answer for keeping your motivation up for the game." This is actually such an amazing quote on so many levels. First of all, Yoshi P admits that it's alright not to play his game every day. Because of how simple and predictable gearing is in Final Fantasy XIV, it's very easy to get completely geared out around a month after a raid tier comes out, and Yoshi P is going a step further by acknowledging this design philosophy. Next, he does the unthinkable and actually suggests that playing only Final Fantasy XIV can be stressful and unfun. Keep in mind, this is the director of a AAA MMO that subsists almost completely on monthly subscriptions, telling you it's alright to take a break and play something else. I love you, Ian Hazakostas, but you would never tell your subscribers to go play other games, and if you did, you'd probably be fired. The last part of this quote is the most relevant. Do come back and play it to your heart's content when the major patch kicks in, then stop it to play other games before you get burnt out, and then come back for another major patch. This is the most honest thing a developer can say about their game. It sums up why I love games like Dota 2, Path of Exile, and of course Final Fantasy XIV. There's no toxic time gating, no scrounging for monthly subscriptions, and if you manage to run out of content or stop having fun, there is absolutely nothing wrong with taking a break to play something else. This has been Nathan, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you!
Sorry guys, I'm a little sick right now, but that's not going to stop me from thanking my boy Real Human. Who's been holding me down, giving me those $4 a month, really changing my life, really pivotal income for me, let me tell you. And honestly, I can't blame you guys for not joining Real Human in the effort to support me on Patreon just yet, because I haven't been super consistent. But that's going to change, because I'm not going to start videos, work on them for 2 hours, and then delete the project, like I have for the last 3 projects, because that's counterintuitive, and it doesn't help me meet my goal. So yeah, thank you, Real Human. Please go check out my Patreon, guys. Have a good one.